Hey everyone, this is Chris at Realridesharestories, and I'm going to be continuing the driver education series on today being your first ride. Alright, so if you're watching this video and you've been thinking about becoming a rideshare driver or are in the process of becoming a rideshare driver, make sure to check out our previous videos on a couple of different things to make sure that you're ready to go before your first ride. Alright, so you signed up, you got accepted, and you're ready for your first ride. Now what? One of the big things to make sure that you have is a mileage tracker. There's plenty of different tracker apps out on the market that you can get through either the Google Play Store or through the App Store on Apple. But definitely make sure that you have a mileage tracker app and turn that on whenever you go online, whether it be Uber or Lyft, and then shut it off when you're done at the end of the rideshare time. Also, make sure that you have a clean car and check over your car just to make sure everything's good on it, everything's safe again. And again, also check the previous video that I did with the driver education series, because that's going to kind of go over a lot more in depth on what to check for your vehicle and make sure it is up to safety standards. All right. And just before you sign on, make sure you know what your schedule is looking like, as well as what type of goal you're looking for that day for income. If you want your income goal to be a certain point and you hit that goal, great. You can either keep going if it's still early enough for you, or end up going home. Either way. But definitely know your schedule. Know the times when you can go on and when you have to go off, or where you have to be. Reason is because you could be quite a ways away from actually being either at home or work or wherever you have to be. So you want to make sure that you have definitely enough time to get where you need to go. So that's definitely one thing you want to make sure you pay attention to. So once you got all that ready, now it's the fun part. Go online. All right, now that you're online, there's always a few things to keep in mind when accepting a ride. So your first ride comes in, there's definitely a few things that you want to pay attention to on it. The screen's going to show a couple of different things, and it's going to have some good information on it that you really want to pay attention to. And the first thing I'm going to say is you do not have to accept every single ride that is given to you. I repeat, you do not have to accept every single ride. And I'll get into that in a few minutes, but first I'm going to go over the information. So there's a few things that you want to pay attention to. First, it's going to show you the location of where the pickup is in relation to where you are, and it's going to show the approximate time distance between you and the pickup location. Also, it's going to show the passenger star rating. It's going to show also if it's a long ride, which means if it's over a 45-minute expected ride, it will pop up on there and let you know, so you know it's going to be a longer ride or not. And you also know if it's going to be surge pricing or prime time pricing, which, depending on Uber or Lyft, is the name of that type of pricing. And then if you're ready to accept that ride and everything looks good with the information, click the bottom half of the screen to accept it and head to your first ride. Now, again, as I said, you do not have to accept every single ride. And I'm going to give you a couple of tips on when you don't have to accept a ride or if it goes against what you want to do. Now, again, you are an independent contractor. You are your own boss. That means that Uber or Lyft, when they give you a ride, that is saying, hey, do you want this ride? Yes or no. You do not have to accept it, or you could accept it. It just depends on what you want. So keep a few things in mind. If you are at a point of time in your shift and you see a longer ride, which means it's going to be a 45-minute plus away ride, you want to make sure that you have enough time to get there and then get back. So if you need to wrap it up in an hour, hour and a half, don't accept that ride because it's going to take you longer and then you're going to miss whatever you have to do or getting home in time or to work. So you want to make sure you pay attention to that. Also, pay attention to the star rating. If they have a lower star rating and it's based out of 5 stars, and if it's lower, like 4, 3, 2, 1, something like that, you kind of want to be leery of accepting that ride. If you go on to Uber forums, Lyft forums, and see what other people are doing in terms of driving, what they will and will not accept, kind of get a better idea. It's always up to you on what you want to do. So keep in mind, though, usually passengers do not take as many rides, so sometimes a very poor rating can reflect on that ride. And it could have been an isolated event. It could have just been a misunderstanding. Could have been a few things. So keep that in mind as well, too. Definitely make sure you pay attention to what the passenger rating is, because that can give you some information on whether that passenger could be a problem or could be a very good passenger. So definitely keep that in mind. Also, one of the biggest things that you want to definitely keep in mind is the distance to the pickup from where you are. I have a rule, and this is my rule. It doesn't have to be your rule. You can do whatever you want. Remember, you are your own boss. But I have a rule that says if it's anything over 10 minutes away from where I am to the pickup spot, I don't accept it. And the reason is because if you spend that amount of time and that amount of gas to go to that location to pick somebody up, and it's a ride down the street, it's not worth your gas, your mileage, your time. And you are within your full right to accept or deny any ride. So I make it a rule, anything over 10 minutes, I don't accept unless there is an exception to that rule, and that exception is if it's over 45 minutes. That's the only way I will take it. And other than that, if it's over 10 minutes, I don't accept it. And sometimes they will give you rides that are 20, 30 minutes away just for the pickup. So that is not something I recommend doing, only because, like I say, if you spend 30 minutes to go to pick up a passenger and they're only going down the street, you're not going to make any money, and you're actually going to lose money. So keep that in mind. Make up your own rule on your distance and where you want to go in time-wise. If it's 8 minutes, if it's 15 minutes, whatever it is, that's your call. Also, if the night or day changes where it's a slower time and you just want to get some rides and you want to kind of lax on that distance rule, go for it. Whatever you want to do, it's up to you. But always remember that you do not have to accept every single ride. So if you're getting a string of rides that's 20, 30 minutes away and you don't want to do that, by all means, don't do it. And last thing to remember, if you don't accept a certain amount of rides because of the distance or because of the passenger rating or whatever reason it is, and then you get a little bit nasty of a text message or an email saying that you're not accepting rides, you know what? Don't worry about it, because it's really not going to affect you. The big thing is, like I say, you are your own boss, and you are in control of what you want to take and what you don't want to take. A acceptance or denial of a ride does not have any reflection to you on your passenger rating, or I'm sorry, your driver rating. It doesn't have any effect on if you're going to get rides or if you're going to get suspended or anything. That's not going to happen. Like I say, if you want to get a little bit more information on that, just check the Uber and Lyft driver forums, talk to other drivers and see what they say, and go from there and make your own decisions. And then when you do accept the ride, that's the fun part, because you get to accept your first ride or your first few rides for the night or day, depending on what time you go out. But it's always a cool thing when you get to pull up to somebody's house and take them to where they want to go. All right, that's it for today's video. And if you had any comments on a couple of tips that you had during your first few rides, leave them down below. And as always, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell for notifications for all of our upcoming videos, and we'll see you next time. Still watching? That's all right. This video might be over, but the fun doesn't have to be. Video up top, if you click that, that'll take you to the last video that we just did. And the video down below is what YouTube thinks you should watch. If you're not a subscriber yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button right over here. And we'll see you next time.